So there's a couple of things that I want to talk about, and I have them written down, some notes. I hope this isn't like an awkward sitting position. I can't figure out a good way to put the camera, so I'm just gonna make it be like it's relaxed, you know, like I'm chatting with you face to face, one-on-one. I tried a couple of times today to film this, but Indigo was awake all day, so I couldn't. She wouldn't let me, and because now it's almost 6 o'clock, almost 6 p.m. So my hair is like real all day-y, you know. So she wouldn't let me. She was running around and screaming and crying every time I tried to talk to the camera. So Sal is home now, and he has her upstairs. So I have a few minutes to do this, so I'll have to make it pretty quick. So right now, Indigo is 13 months old, and she weighs 18 pounds. When she was born, she weighed 5 pounds and 7 ounces. So she's gained a lot of weight. Some might say that she is really little. She's really petite, and she is. She's small, but she's doing really well. She's thriving. She's doing great. She's growing leaps and bounds, so I'm not too worried about that at all. Right now she's crawling like a pro. For a while she was doing the army crawl, and now she's just crawling. She's so quick, and she's attempting standing up on her own. So right now she uses a little zebra walker, so she'll walk around the house with that, but she can't turn by herself. So if she runs into an obstacle or like a dead end, then she turns around and she's like, hey, hey. And we have to run over and redirect her because she hasn't quite figured out how to turn it yet. And she tries to stand up on her own. So right now she'll hold on to things when she stands up, and she'll stand. But she's trying to stand up off the floor by herself. So she's done it once or twice, and she balances for a minute, and then she plops down on her butt. It's really cute. And she kind of cruises along the furniture, but no attempts at walking by herself yet. I still think we have a while, maybe about another month or so, but she might surprise us and do it next week. I don't know, so I'll keep you posted on that. She is really funny. She's really funny. She's really jokey, like she's such a jokester, and she likes to make us laugh. So the moment she sees that she's made us laugh, she continues to do whatever she's doing. And you can just tell by her personality that she's going to be like a funny kid. And I'm glad, because we're really funny. And I just think that if she wasn't, how boring would that be? So she's eating more solids now, and she's working on putting food into her own mouth and taking bites of it. So that's something that's new. And I'm almost done. She just came in here, and now she's like, looked like a fish out of water when Sal was trying to take her away. And she still likes to eat some pureed foods. Her number one source of nutrition is breast milk. She still eats all the time, but she's slowly now eating more food. And she likes to eat potatoes. She loves turkey and chicken. She loves peas. Oh, she loves peas. And some of her favorite combos are banana, mango, and sweet potato. She likes to eat avocado with apple and chicken. And she's not really that picky, so I'm proud of her in that aspect. I act like I'm not proud of her in other aspects. I'm proud of her in that aspect only. But she's doing good. And I know that as she gets older, she might start to have some aversions to food. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I hope not, because I'm not that picky. She initiates games now. So she'll do this thing with her sleeve where she'll put her hand in it and go like that and be like, ah, and then go, ah, and like, oh, where's my hand? There's my hand. And she'll play peekaboo with you. She'll initiate that herself. And what else does she do? She does lots of little games now. It's so cute. Like, it's really cute to see her little brain working. She loves books. We have a basket of books in her room, and she likes to go through it, and she takes them out one by one, and she has me tell her what it is. And she has like her select favorites that she likes to sit down and go through, but she only lasts for the first couple of pages, and then she's like, okay, I don't want that one anymore. Let's go on to the next one. And she likes to turn the pages for me, and there's a few that she has some of the things memorized. So there's one of the books, and one of the books, it says, the cats drink the milk, and it's like a flat book. So it says the cats drink the, and then on the next page there's a flap that she has to lift, and it says milk, and she does the milk sign before I even say it. So she memorizes them too, and she's getting to the point where she can let me know that she has them memorized. It's really cute. She loves to drink water. That's the only other liquid that she's had other than breast milk, and she loves water, especially when it's cold. So I put it in her little cup that has a straw, and she'll just drink all of it. It's really funny. And she loves her toes. There's so many things that she uses her toes and her feet for, like to help her hold on to things, to pick stuff up. She acts like she's eating her toes. She likes it when we smell her feet and go, ew, pee, that smells. She loves that. There's just a lot of like really fun, cool, interesting things that she's starting to do now that I just can't get over, you know, seeing her go from a newborn being completely helpless to watching her every day doing something new is like so awesome. Now for breastfeeding, that was something that in the beginning was crazy. Like I was not expecting how difficult it would be. I read about it, I watched videos about it and everything, and lucky for me, she latched on right away. But wow, what a life changer, what a world changer, what an eye opener. Breastfeeding is no joke. 24/7. It's a more than full-time job. It's like you're working 3 full-time jobs. I have exclusively breastfed Indigo up until this point, and she has had, I would pump milk just because I do have a job, and I would pump milk for her, but she only took a bottle maybe 4 times. She never would take a bottle, even when she was little. When she was littler. But when she was maybe 3 months old, Sal gave her a bottle just so I could go and rest for a few minutes, and she did fine. But after that, it's really hard to get her to take a bottle. Even to this day, if you hold up a bottle to show her, like, oh, here's the bottle, she's like, no, are you kidding? Poof. So that's why we introduced a sippy cup and a straw cup to her, and she does fine. But she still won't drink breast milk out of those, only from me. So that gets interesting when I have to go to work. So as you know, I work from home, and that's really great because that's what enabled me to be able, is that even right? That's what allowed me to be able to exclusively breastfeed Indigo, because I don't have to go to an office job or anything like that. I get to work from home. But there are times when I have to leave the house to go to work, and I can't really be gone for longer than 3 hours at a time because she still breastfeeds. So that really inhibits a lot of what I can do, but I try my best, and I think that we're getting to the point now that I can start to be gone for longer periods of time because she is eating more solid foods, because she won't take a bottle. So we went through the cluster feeding for a long time. It would start every night at like 5 p.m. and it would last until 10 or 11 o'clock, and I remember I would sit on the edge of our couch in the living room. Sal would be working on the computer, and I would just be sitting there, and for 5 or 6 hours, Indigo would be latching on, popping off, crying, latching on, popping off, crying. Oh my gosh. And it went on and on. And there were so many nights where I was like, this is it. I quit. I can't do this anymore. I can't. And Sal would be like, it's okay. Just get through tonight, go to sleep, wake up, and see how you feel in the morning. And of course, the next day I always felt fine. It's just in the throes of things, you really just feel like you can't do it anymore. But they always say never quit on a bad day, and it's true because the next day is fresh, brand new, and then you feel completely better. So I'm glad that I didn't quit. I breastfed through her growth spurts, through her mental leaps, and those are difficult too, especially the growth spurts in the beginning because you have no idea what to expect, and you think, oh my gosh, like I don't have enough milk. she's not getting enough. This is why she's screaming and crying and why she's constantly wanting to eat. But in reality, she's the one that directs your milk supply. So as long as you feed on demand, which is what we do, still, if you feed on demand, then your milk supply will be exactly where it should be, because she is the one that's in charge of saying how much milk you should be making. So as long as you just let her eat when she needs to, or he needs to, you should be fine with your supply. And so that's what happens in a growth spurt. They're upping your supply because they're getting bigger. So it's very challenging, but Netflix, Hulu, my computer, my phone, they became my best friends during this time because I needed to be awake and pay attention. I didn't pump all that long, really, just because I didn't really need to. I tried, but I didn't need to. And she never took a pacifier, would never take one. My mom got her to take it one time, but other than that, never. She always would throw it out or spit it out, or she would look really disgusted if you put it into her mouth. She'd be like, what is this? It's a hard job, but I'm proud of myself and how far we've come and the bond that's there, it's pretty amazing. Her sleeping is, what is sleep? It's there, and she does sleep, but it's not the best, which is okay. But from the beginning, she was swaddled, and I used those Swaddle Me swaddlers, which worked really well. And Indigo was actually swaddled up until she was 7.5 months old, because that's the only way that she would sleep. And then at that point, at about 7.5 months old, it's like her reflexes changed, and she didn't wake herself up anymore, so she didn't need to be swaddled, which was great. She did sleep in her rock and play until she was about maybe 3 or 4 months old. That was the only place I could get her to sleep. She wouldn't sleep next to me. She wouldn't sleep in her bassinet, not her crib, nothing. But in her rock and play, she slept really well because it kind of cradles them. I heard that they're crack though for babies. So once she started moving around more, then I slowly transitioned her into one of those, I think it's called a clear view bed, and it's like a sidecar bed. So it connects to your bed and it's level with you, so you can just kind of scoop the baby out, feed him, whatever you need to do, and then lay the baby back in there. I'll link that below so that way you can take a look at it. They're pretty awesome. It's co-sleeping, so you're not bed sharing, but you're technically co-sleeping because they're in the same room as you. And when I transferred her or transitioned her into that bed, what I did was I had to mimic the rock and play for a while because that's what she was used to. And she's very temperamental with her sleeping arrangements, and she's very sensitive to them. So what I did was underneath the sheet that it comes with, I rolled up blankets all around, and that way it would mimic the cradle feeling that she would get in the rock and play. And then I folded up blankets underneath the mattress to make it elevated at the head, so she was still sleeping at a cradled angle. And then slowly through the weeks I would take away the blankets, so then she was sleeping flat but still had the cradle around her, all of the blankets rolled up. And then after that I slowly took those away, and then before we knew it, she was sleeping flat. And in June, she was about 6 months old, we went to South Carolina. So I took a little bed with me that was a co-sleeper bed, and I went on top of the bed next to you, so that way she was next to you or in the middle of you both, and easy access. So I'll link that below as well. It worked really well for its purpose, so for traveling, and it was a great travel bed. And she still slept swaddled in there, but when we came back, she started going through a leap, and she did not want to be swaddled anymore, which was fine. And the first 2 nights was pretty rough, and then after that she did fine. But then right after that happened was when she started going through another sleep regression, and she would not sleep in any bed, not her sidecar bed, not that bed, not her crib, nothing. So that's when we introduced co-sleeping, bed sharing. Yeah, bed sharing. So now to this day, she still sleeps right in the middle of me and Sal. It's actually working out really well. She still eats throughout the night, so she just kind of stirs, and she'll eat and then she'll go back to sleep. So there's times when she'll sleep for 3 hours at a time, sometimes 4, sometimes 1 hour. It's never the same. So she's always been inconsistent with her sleeping habits, but I'm just kind of riding that wave and letting her direct me on where she's going, because I don't want to force anything on her. I'm not a cry it out kind of mom. Trust me, it's gone through my head, but I wouldn't do that. Not saying that if you do, it's bad, but that's not something that I'm going to be doing. I'm just letting her do her own thing. So I think that it's going pretty well. And if she feels safe with us, that's all we need, you know. With naps, they're hit or miss, definitely. There's some days where she takes 2 naps, each like an hour and a half. Then there's days where she only takes 1 nap in the morning. There's days where she takes no naps. There's days where she only naps in the afternoon, or she'll sleep for 5 minutes. It's so hit or miss. She's never been on a schedule, and I've tried so hard to put her on a nap schedule. And I just think that she is not a scheduled type of person when it comes to that kind of stuff. Other things, yes, but when it comes to sleeping, she's not. So with naps, there's times when I can't put her down in her crib, because she does nap in her crib. And there's times when I can't even put her down. I'll try to put her down and she starts screaming and she starts doing the milk sign to me like, bah, with her eyes closed. And hi, she's right there. I'm almost done, okay? And I'll just have to end up sitting here in this chair with her, and I'll have my work computer and stuff, and I'll sit here while she sleeps, and I'll just be working. So it's actually really nice, because then she's sleeping, she wakes up and sees I'm still there, and she might eat some more, and it's just a really good quality time for us, and she's resting, and then I get to rest and do my work and everything. So it's like a win-win. I kind of like that, but I also like when she sleeps in her crib and I can get a lot of stuff done around the house or make phone calls or whatever it is I have to do. So that's really her sleeping habits right now. I know that sleeping through the night is a milestone, and she'll reach it at some point, and I'm not in any rush for her to do that. So I'm just, like I said, riding that wave, going with the flow. I've never been one to put labels on our parenting styles, on mine and Sal's, but I would say that out of all of them, we do fall into the attachment parenting, I guess, category. And I wouldn't say 100%, but I think that we do fall into that attachment parenting, because since Indigo was born, I put her in a carrier. I baby wear, and I started out with a Catan when she was a newborn, because she was so tiny. So I held her in the cradle position and would do things around the house. And then as she got bigger, we transferred into the Ergo Baby 360. And I still use that almost every day. So I'll use it around the house when I'm doing laundry, vacuuming, or just when I need to get her up off the floor. Like if she wants me to hold her, if I'm doing stuff, I'll just stick her in there, and that way she's like, oh, great, I'm with mom. And then I'm doing what I need to do around the house. And she's just now big enough to go in the back carry, so I'll put her on my back. She's still kind of small for it, but she likes it, and when I put her on my back, she'll usually go to sleep. So that's a really good one to do if I'm outside. And if I'm like raking or doing stuff outside or in the garage, then I'll put her in the back carry, and she's content for a while. And then she's like, what's going on? But I will keep baby wearing until she's too big. Right now she's still a good size, and I can baby wear the heck out of her, and she likes it. And we, like I said before, we are co-sleeping parents as well, bed sharing parents, so she's still sleeping with us. And we don't really see that ending anytime soon. Maybe as she gets bigger, of course as she gets bigger, but we're letting her take the lead on that one, because babies are meant to be close to their parents, especially at night. They're not meant to be thrown into another room by themselves. And okay, I shouldn't say thrown, that's the wrong word. They're not meant to be put into another room by themselves, you know, not yet anyway. They're too little. That's my opinion. Please respect my opinion. And, but yeah, so there's so many parenting labels out there that I don't like to say, oh yeah, we're this, we're that, because I feel like I just go with the flow and do what feels natural to me, and a lot of that just happens to fall under the attachment parenting. Alright, Indigo is freaking out because, like, she wants to be in here with me, so I'm almost done. I changed positions because the lighting in that other one was really bothering me, and we don't have professional lighting, obviously, and it's nighttime, so there's no natural light, so bear with me. So going out with indigo has always been like a really big fear of mine, and in the beginning especially. So we would go out to the grocery store, or if we went out to eat somewhere or something, and by the end, we always were so surprised because she always did so fantastic. So that was always like, so good. And so nowadays, I still have that fear in me, but I'm definitely more comfortable in taking her out and going places by myself. I remember I didn't go anywhere with Indigo by myself for at least 5 or 6 months because I did not trust that it would go okay. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, if she starts crying or something happens, what do I do if I'm by myself? So I always waited until Sal or my mom could go with me. But now I pretty much do everything with Indigo. It's always me and Indigo. So like if I have to go for work or something, she goes with me. Sometimes, like if my mom can't watch her or if it's something simple, then I'll take Indigo with me. And she'll go to the grocery store with me. She likes to sit in the cart. For forever, she would be in her carrier when we go to the grocery store, but now she sits in the cart and she does really well. I'm always really impressed. So I hope that it stays that way, because when we go out to eat, she does really good. She sits in the high chair and she just likes to eat. So as long as she's eating and has food, then she's fine. But if she's tired, then, she doesn't do as well. But we've never had a meltdown or anything yet. I think as she gets bigger, that'll probably happen. But that's some territory that I guess we'll enter when we have to, but I hope that we don't have to for a while because she does such a good job. She did phenomenal on the airplane to South Carolina and back when we went in June. She did so good, and we drove to my other sister's house in Nevada just this weekend, and she did so good. She didn't cry once. Just, she does so good. So I hope she stays that way. Feeding in public was always another fear of mine, and I do it if I have to, but now she's kind of at a point where I can tell her, oh, okay, because she does the milk sign, and I'll say, oh, okay, no problem. Let's wait until we get in the car. And I think she's catching on, so I have to tell her that a few times, and then I'll distract her with something else, and then she's okay. But I just keep trying to reiterate, like, oh, let's wait until we're in the car, or let's wait until we're at home. So that way she's not freaking out in the middle of the store or wherever we are. I have fed her though. I've breastfed her in public. She doesn't let me cover her anymore. She used to when she was littler, when she was smaller, but not anymore. So what I do is I just wear 2 shirts and everything's covered, and I'm just like really discreet about it. I've never had any issues though with people saying anything, so that's good. And I'm just always so happy that she's so well behaved. And she can be shy when she sees people. They'll wave to her or they'll come up and talk to her, and she'll blush. Like, she'll turn bright red and she'll be like, and she definitely gets that from me because I blush a lot when I get embarrassed or caught off guard or anything. But if she warms up to the person, then okay. But for the most part, she hates strangers. She hates people of all kinds. But she's funny. If she's eating, though, like if she's eating food, then if she sees people, she'll wave to them. She'll be like, as she's eating. And she loves kids. She loves when she sees kids and babies. So she'll scream and be like, ah, and point to them and wave. And she does this now, like, oh, come here, come here, come here. Or let me see, like that. And isn't that like all of us, though? Like if we have food, then we're always happy and content and like friendly to everybody. That's Indigo. Another thing that happened to me was postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. I was never clinically diagnosed, but I feel like you don't need to be because you know how you are mentally and physically. So starting right when Indigo was born was the time change. So we entered fall, the time changed, and it started getting dark like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And once it hit about 3 o'clock and the sun changed, I changed. And I would fall into like a depression, and I would be so scared of it getting dark, and I would just have so much anxiety, and I would be just like, I would cry. And at that time, Sal was working a different job, so there were some times when he would work until 10 p.m., and I would be texting him or calling him, or I would take Indigo to my parents' house and be there for a while so I didn't have to be alone. And I would, especially if Sal would go in at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., I would be crying, like, don't go, I can't do it. And of course I knew I could, but it was just this crazy feeling that would come over me always, every day at the same time. It was so weird, and I hated that feeling. It was so uncomfortable. Oh my gosh. And then that slowly went away, I think, as we entered spring. Isn't that awful? As soon as when we started entering spring and then the time changed again and it would be light out longer, then it went away. But also it could just be because I was feeling better. But you know how some people say, like, oh, I bounced back at 6 weeks. At 6 weeks I was feeling myself. I wasn't. I think that even now I'm still finally starting to feel like my old self again. Not even 100%. And I've been a mom for 13 months. So if you aren't feeling like yourself and you're 6 months in, a few weeks in, 2 years in, that's okay. There's no set time frame or time limit on how long you're supposed to feel bad or how long you're supposed to take to feel good again, or whatever you classify as feeling normal. It's everybody's journey. It's your own journey, you know. So you can't look at the person next to you and she said she felt better at 6 or 7 weeks and then you think there's something wrong with you, because there's not. Everybody handles it differently. At about 6 months, when Indigo turned 6 months old, that's when my depression hit really bad. I would say there's parts of that I don't even remember. And I feel like I was okay though, because I was able to talk about it. And I would talk to Sal about it and my parents about it too. So they knew as well. And they would always check on me. So you have to have a good support system, especially if you're feeling like you are suffering from postpartum depression or anxiety, because if you don't, you're just going to dig yourself into a deeper hole. And that's not good. Anxiety is something that a lot of people don't recognize, because being a new mom, you're stressed because you're like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Oh my gosh, is my baby breathing? Is this happening? What's that? And you just think that's normal. But when you have postpartum anxiety, that's like another step up. And sometimes it's hard to recognize in yourself. And other people might just think that you're tired or something. But those closest to you, I think, will be able to point it out. And when I started to notice mine, I don't know how old Indigo was. Actually, it started probably 3 or 4 weeks in, or 3 to 4 weeks in, and it still happens now. I would get these horrible images in my mind. And I know if you've suffered from this, then you know what I'm talking about, where you would just be doing something normal, like maybe carrying your baby through the kitchen and maybe going to the laundry room or to the front door, and all of a sudden this image plagues you. And I say plague because it's like the plague of you dropping your baby directly on their head and their head breaking open. Or I would get the image where I'd be cooking food and I'm holding Indigo and she falls forward and her face lands on the burner and it just burns and melts onto the burner. Or some other images that I would get would be like crossing the street and us getting hit by a car and you could see where that's going. Or Sal would be carrying Indigo and there would be a curb and I would see them tripping over the curb and Sal would land directly on top of Indigo and Indigo's head would slam into the cement. So those are things that were happening, and they started happening more frequently, more. And I finally was like, oh my God, like what is going on? Am I going crazy? What is this? And it took a while for me to build up the courage to say something, because I thought, oh my gosh, if I tell Sal this, he's going to think I'm a bad mom, or he's going to think that I'm unfit to be a mom to his daughter. But I told him and he understood. And he said, wow, okay, well, I'm glad you told me. Make sure you tell me these things. And once I said something, I feel like they got a lot better, because it's out in the open and you don't feel like it's something that's so bad that you're hiding within you that it doesn't have a chance to grow and fester because you shed light on it. And we all know that mold doesn't grow in the sunlight. So that's something that I'm glad that I did. And once I said something, it really helped. They're still there though, and they still do happen occasionally, and I just try to like push it out of my mind, like get out of here. And for the most part it works. But just know that I've read that that's normal. And if you feel like you're at a point where you can't handle it, then of course talk to somebody. Talk to your doctor, talk to your midwife, and talk about some options on how you can help yourself. But for me, the best medicine was talking about it, saying it out loud, saying what I was seeing and feeling. And that meant that I wasn't hiding from it anymore. And here I am today. So that's pretty much it. If there's anything else that you want to know about my 13 months of being a mom, let me know. Ask me questions, comment below. And yeah, it's been really fun. There's so much that I've learned and so much that I'm still learning. And I feel like when you become a mom, or if you're married or you have a significant other and you become parents together, that's when you just really see each other in a whole different light. So that's awesome. Sal is a really good dad, and I'm so lucky to have him, even though he gags when he changes Indigo's poop diaper, which I should have got on film because it was really funny. He doesn't really change her poop diapers that often, so he did right now, and he almost died, so. All right, here is my 13-month-old Indigo. How are you 13 months? Huh? So she wants milk. Can you tell everybody how old you are? How old are you? 1? 1. Good job. 1. Can you do a fist bump? Fist bump. Well, thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And watch Indigo grow as we go throughout the weeks. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Can you do your funny face? Let me see your funny face. Oh, you're stretching? Whoa, look at you stretch. Stretch. Let me see your funny face. Good job. Say bye-bye. Bye. Can you blow a kiss? Yeah, good job. You're so sweet.